Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Ladies Listen Up. How are you today, co-host Mr. Cherrard?
Hey, 2 days in a row, I'm good.
We got some good stuff to talk about. Before we get started, though, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Optimal word meaning share. Share this information with someone else. All righty. So what court are we on today? Tennis,
Man,
racquetball, basketball? What we doing today? Because our topic today is something of an else, as they say.
hey, we in divorce court.
Gerard, you gonna divorce me already? Oh, Atlanta.
Nah, we talking about marriage and money. You know,
Oh my goodness.
and money don't make you happy and it don't keep you together. That's what we gonna holler about
Well, all right then. Money don't make you happy. Well, we know with all of the high profile divorces that are
that.
in the news and in media right now. I guess that kind of, I don't know. Does it tell us that money don't keep you together? What does that tell
I
us?
mean, because when you look at a lot of people's, especially seem like women are told to marry money. You need somebody that can take care of you. But I guess a lot of the bad advice given to women, there's nothing said that make sure he loves you, make sure he takes care of you emotionally, mentally, and physically. I mean, because a lot of men with a lot of money have beat the crap out of their women, but hey, I'll buy you something, the worse the beating, the bigger the gift is, you know.
Yeah, we saw that
It's
in What's Love Got to Do with It with Tina Turner. When she
Yeah,
talked about that honeymoon period where he took all his anger and all of that on her, and then think that a
yeah.
gift is going to gifts don't do it at that point. Gifts
Well,
don't do it.
well, disclaimer. Ike said he ain't do what they said he did in that movie. Ike said it, and he said he damn sure didn't lose no fight to no woman.
I think if you look in a dictionary by abuser, well, I ain't gonna say I wasn't there. I'm just saying for some reason that name just sounds like it. Okay, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
We go, yeah, we gonna leave that for domestic violence. But you know what though, when you're talking about the money and marriage and all and everything like that, a lot of that abuse do come from
Yeah.
frustrations over money issues or the lack thereof. So the frustrations of just brawling from Peter, I guess they say, to pay Paul, and just trying to keep food on the table and everything. So a lot of that frustration when we haven't been taught the skills or coping skills of stress, especially like now with the pandemic going on, how the domestic violence has risen. You think
Yeah.
about that, you're talking about finances, and then all of a sudden we woke up in March and people's jobs were gone, and then everybody had to be in the same households together for extended periods of time figuring out a stressful situation. Now you just
Right.
compounded that by having, sometimes being able to, in a abusive or bad relationship, escaping is work, or getting out to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
But now when you say we're quarantined right here, a lot of people found out they didn't really like their spouses after all.
No, because they like their work husband better.
Yeah. Somebody said that the other day about their work wife, their work husband. I said, wow, yeah, that is true. You spend more
Yeah.
time with them actually.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
probably get to
And,
know them better.
and honestly, you do, because you're working side by side, hour after hour, day after day, especially if it's, one of them jobs where it's a lot of overtime or mandatory overtime. You're with
Hmm.
him or her more than you're with your own spouse. And that's the funny thing, because when we were, the quarantine really showed us a lot about ourselves, about our relationships, our parenting skills, and everything under the sun. Like you said, we're forced to be together. But what I was thinking about was, you know, my advice to young men is, when a woman says, I'm marrying for money, right? And I'm gonna put this out here. My advice to young men is, yo, if that's her number one criteria, that'll be the number one reason she leaves you too. Because this coronavirus whole hookup, people lost our bid. Companies start realizing, oh man, we're paying you, and we really don't need you. So those wages are gone.
Right.
So if those wages are gone, chances are she's gone too.
Mm.
It's like what would it say? 65% of women and 52% of men said that financial matters cause them the most stress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And stress when money, when you look at what money does for some people, it can afford them the means to get away for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But money also stresses you out, because without money, you can't buy food. You're worrying how you're going to keep your nice things, your cars, your houses, especially if you're one of those materialistic individuals that, I want to show off, I want to do this and that and the other. Hey, when you lose that income, that especially if it was a nice income, stress, dollars go down, stress goes up. And then that's where, like you said, that domestic violence thing just really, it got off the map for a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because there's a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of, the avenues of escape was gone,
Right.
and then think about this too, in the naturopathic medicine, we teach that 80% of illness is emotion. So now you're compounding not only the stress and the emotion, but now you bring on the illness because you've had been
Right.
so, and now you really, lean to those marriage vows, for sickness and in health, and all of that, you really lean to that at that point. So what did you really, when you made that vow, did you really make that vow in all of those, scenarios?
Were they just words, or did you actually mean the words? And a lot of times you're finding out that a lot of times, hey, people are just, saying words,
Yeah.
and vows are supposed to be something sacred. I mean, as I tell anybody, no one has to respect your marriage but you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not going to respect your marriage and the vows that why not? Hey, let's just be friends and kick it, or friends with benefits, if we're not really coming into this marriage with love. Because a number of women I've talked to online or in person or whatever, and I asked them about marriage, they stated that they would get married again only for money. So it's like, okay, if that's the only reason why you're getting married, and we know what marriage comes, the whole physicality of it, the sexual side or whatever, because I don't see any men marrying a woman and say, well, I'm not going to sleep with her, So I'm like, so basically, and I joked around with one, I said, damn, this sounds like a prostitution racket. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because if you only just getting married for the money, and
right.
what you have to do for it, because he's not going to just let you lay up in the crib untouched.
Right.
Why not just be friends and just tell them, hey, you got to just, break me off some bread if you want to come and get some.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Just, and I don't know if you did your homework or not, Cherrard. I don't know if you said you was kind of boycotting the Dear Future Wifey podcast because that was your homework. But, I stay over there, right? I live over there in that, and what you were just talking about, though, Essence Atkins was on the show the other day, and she brought up a great point about covenant and what it
Okay.
means to have that covenant with somebody, meaning that you have this, you build this relationship with them. And if it's based on money, like you said, if it's based on materialistic things, or it's based on like material, or it's based on, money, or based on anything other than, you truly having a bond with that person, and you truly care, or you truly love them, and you both want the best for one another, then any of these other things, again, to me, is why the divorce rate is so high, because it's built on something other than the true essence of what this covenant is supposed to be. So if you're
About
built,
love and
yeah, about love and about caring. I mean, well, love being that nucleus of it. Because if you love somebody, think about it. If you love yourself, you want the best for yourself. If you love that person, you want the best for them. So
right.
you build a relationship around all of those, I mean, think about it. If we really, really think about it, this stuff deteriorates. This stuff, it loses value, but the experience that you share with someone, with the growth and the connection that you share with them, that's something that, you can't put a dollar value on.
And the funny thing about love is, like you said, all those other things deteriorates over time.
Right.
See, with love though, love is one of them things that the older it gets, the stronger it's supposed to get. If we do it right from the beginning, love is one of those things that, like I said, you don't lose it. It doesn't dissipate over time. If you truly love someone, the bond gets stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where, hey, I'm finishing your sentence. As a matter of fact, you don't have to ask me for nothing. Oh, it's already in there, because I'm gonna pay attention to you. I'm gonna pay attention to your patterns, your behaviors, and things of that nature, and I can read you without you even saying anything to me. So love is one of those things that should be at the forefront of what every marriage is. Because we know we have to communicate. We have to build that foundation. We have to build a nice foundation in order for us to build anything else. And I think everybody gets so caught up with the Jay-Z, Beyonce power couple, relationship goals and all this other stuff. And they see the money, 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 money. Hey, I want to, and everybody say, I want to get somebody I want to build a legacy with. Well, first don't you think you should find out if you love that person or not? Why you got to learn that person. You have to get to know them through communication.
Absolutely. And I think, and that's something that we've talked about, is building that foundational communication. One of the things that, again, going back to what she was talking about, it really hit home, because she talked about, like what we just said about building that relationship from the rip, just like not spending a whole lot of time if you already know up front that this is not the person that you're looking to build with. And again, like I said before, to thyself be true, and knowing yourself, knowing is this somebody that I really want to build, because I believe in being able to build that power couple with I believe in soulmates. I believe in people. I believe in you actually meeting someone that does have your best interests at heart. You have their best interests at heart. You share the common goals. You share there is some differences, because like you said before, you have to be able to balance each other out. But I believe that's just a formula of success. And as you continue to go and grow together, it's like fine wine. It's like aged cheese. It's like, it just becomes better and better. And so then you have this, I believe, with beginning with the end in mind. So, when we think about what at the end of our life, at the end, it's all said and done, what really mattered? What really mattered? What type of experiences did you have? What did you share with each other? What did you build to be the legacy? So that, 2 pages down the album, they say, wow, when my family talk about my mother and father, the thing that they talk about is how much they loved each other. Everybody knew this love story. They finished each other's sentence. I believe their hearts beat on the same, the same rhythm.
Yeah.
They joked together, they laughed together, they played together, and they didn't grow this big old empire together. But guess what? When somebody talk about them, this is what they talk about. How, how they had a fairy tale, love, marriage. Nothing's perfect. I'm not going to pretend that it was, but I think out of all of the years and years that they were together, I think we can recall maybe 3 times they had like blow up arguments where they're like, okay, we're done. They wake up in the morning, they're laughing about it. Like, I ain't going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. And It's a wrap. But so, and they weren't wealthy, but they were wealthy and rich in other things, and support and love.
And that's the one thing you said. See, they didn't build an empire. And see, that's what everybody keep concentrating on, is the legacy of money. But see, there's other legacies that are more important than the money, because if you build a foundation and you give a legacy of love, and that's what you gave to your children, love, love for yourself, love for someone else you say you truly love, the knowledge of self, knowing who you are, and this and that and the other. There are other things that you can leave as a legacy that will help the next generation build that empire, possibly. What I'm saying? But we need to for me, I'm very strong on the Black love thing. That legacy that what we don't have in the community anymore is structure, discipline, and all these other things that we used to pass down like heirlooms. You know, you could say it was at one point where you were like, well, mama said don't do such and such, well, grandma said don't, granddaddy, no. And we hung on the words of those of our elders, and that was gold. That was like the empire everybody's trying to build. We listened to our elders back in the day. Now it's all about, hey, if you ain't got no money, I can't listen to you. And we talked about everybody plays the fool on the last podcast. And I look at men that marry women that would not touch them if they didn't have money. You know what I'm saying? And I think you know, I'm from the old school. I'm from the E42 short days, right? So you know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you know, these young guys out here talking about, hey, you know, if you got it, it ain't tricking if you got it. No, it's tricking. You can't change the words up. I mean, if you got to come out your pocket to knock it, then that's tricking, homie. You know what I'm saying? You can't change what it is, because no matter how you're trying to change it, you're trying to spend money to get her to love you. You're giving, she's not loving you for you. She's not wanting you for you. She's wanting you for the trinkets, the gifts, the change, the cheese, the Skrilla, the dead presidents. She don't want you. Everything else but you. And as soon as you run out, she runs out. Mm-hmm. And that's what people need to understand. Marrying for money will only lead, for me, I think it'll lead to heartbreak in the end, or that's where your domestic violence jumps off. Because, hey, okay, I know you're here for the money. I controlled you. I pay the cost to be the boss. I am the boss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all you're doing is just bringing your good looks and your body to what I already have. If you're not providing nothing else, I'm the boss. You got to be quiet. You got to.
Wow. And then the essence of you know, of loving somebody then, or coming together with that pure love or what have you. That's not, I mean, I guess that's in my opinion, you know, but that's that brings more issue to the relationship, because I mean, you always have these other, where's the trust and the loyalty, and like you said, mm-hmm. Even what happened in the community as far as structure and discipline, respect and love, mutual adoration, you know. And I think, you know, even, you know, what I want to build on my family's legacy is, even though, you know, like my mom and dad, they, you know, they brought the love to the table. They showed us how to do that part of it, you know, and, you know, they work 9 to 5, but I still think that you can, you know, that there's nothing wrong with building a legacy with your partner and having balance with it. And that's something I'm learning, is the balance part of it. But you can, if you're on the, I mean, think about it. If you standing back to back with each other and you got each other's back, and you know that the love is there, and there's not all this added stress and pressure because, you know, oh, he gonna leave because of money, she gonna leave because of the money. It's not about the money thing. Or, you know, I've heard people that are in marriages that are in very dysfunctional, unhappy marriages, but they're there because, you know, maybe one has insurance, one is an entrepreneur, so they don't want to give up the insurance, don't want to give up the furniture, the cars, the whatever they, you know, built together over those years or what have you. But when it all boils down to it, we have that dash, right? Our birth date and then the date that we're going to transition. So I think it's up to us. What do you want that to look like? Do you want it to be with all this drama, all this strife? Right now, you know, we have these billionaire couples that are now, what is it? The fight over the, I mean, I think they said once you make a lot of money, it's now a game to keep it and make more. So is that what it is? Who's going to get more in it now? I mean, I don't know. I just think that life is just so much, can be so much more rich and so much more fulfilling if it's not about money.
And this is what I'm thinking, you know, because, you know, I'm looking at old school love versus new school love, right?
Okay.
The old school, they didn't have a lot of money, but what they did was have a lot of love. They had a lot of, you know, togetherness. Yo, no matter what happens, we gonna go down with this ship together. You know what I'm saying? And that's the, you know, and not to say that old school love was perfect. The marriages were perfect, but the thing was they had a purpose, and
Mm-hmm.
that purpose was filled with love. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
purpose was, hey, we got these kids together, we gonna rock together.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna, you know, Shahrazad Ali, that woman right there, man, I love her. She really speaks the truth. She speaks truth to power every time she gets up and says anything. You know, it's not that she just talks about Black women. She talks about Black men and what we need to bring back. And what she's talked about was how feminism came in and destroyed the Black community. How we let it destroy the Black community. You know, and I would advise any Black woman to peep her out and just check her out. She has a book called the Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man, and she has another book saying the Guide to Black Men Understanding Black Women.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that we got away from what kept us rich in the first place.
Oh wow, that's good.
You know, we were very wealthy with the love that we had. We had a structure, we had discipline, we had a hierarchy in our family. You know, we had people that knew their roles, you know, and whatever that role was in your particular house. I'm not talking about what society said our roles are. I'm talking about whatever role is going on in your house. That's that role you played in your house, and we don't care what goes on in the outside world. Now we're so worried about, you know, trying to conform to society's standard of what they feel should be in my house. I think that we've got everything, you know, it's, hey, love is not the main thing no more. It's what we accumulate. It's what I can show off to my friends and to my neighbors and stuff. It's not what we have together as far as the love, the communication, the loyalty, some of the things that you can't really touch.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Intangibles.
the intangible.
Yes. The commitment to, let's, you know, and I think that was the difference. I think when we talked about, you know, about marriage, you know, when you make that true commitment to someone and you are, you know, I mean, I don't want to say contractually obligated because that's still going back to a business term, but when you have a covenant, is, you know, you're working it out, so you've committed to working it out, even though people go and they get divorces and all that. I get that, but there's a commitment to working it out, and that's what I think they did in years past. Was they figured out a solution to the issue, came together and communicated, had conversation, you know, let's figure this out, you know, because that's what I remember my mother and father doing, even when they had those three, you know, blow ups, but they worked it out. Like, let's figure it out. You know, let's work it out. Let's stay together. Let's, you know, this is not a temporary situation. This is what we come together to do for a lifetime.
This is long term.
But
this is long term.
it has to be both parties willing to work at that. And that's where you go back, rewind back to the beginning, understanding that person and really getting to know the characteristics or the character of that person. Even though over time you're going to grow, you know, you're going to grow, but just learning. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine on yesterday, and she was just talking about some situations that have happened early on in their marriage. And I think they've been married maybe about 15 years now. Some situations that happened earlier on in their marriage, and as they started to grow and work through those situations together, how much better and how much richer the relationship is now because they stuck it out. And, you know, prior to, they, you know, were like, you know, is this really something that we want to do? But really, you know, they didn't really take the time to get to know each other, but they allowed themselves, and they were so committed to making it a success that they worked through it. And then now the relationship is a lot better, a lot richer. Sometimes I think people cut their losses quick now, especially nowadays, and they're ready to go on to the next person or ready to go on to the next situation. But what I often think and say is that if you don't realize what's going on with yourself, then you're still bringing that same person to another relationship. Yep. So you're bringing those same issues with you to a new relationship, and then they're bringing some same issues until you really stop. And that's what my mindset was. Stop, take a sabbatical, and just, you know, don't add anybody else to the equation. Figure out what's going on with yourself. Work through your stuff. So now now you're able to better discern what's going on, better able to, you know, just really decide what it is that you really want. So again, to thyself be true. And then too, it's unfair to dump all of that into somebody else's lap. If money is the issue, then figure out how to work on your financial situation and get yourself in a better place so that you can, I say bring to the table what you're asking for. or at least,
Yeah, just don't bring your appetite to the table. Bring a plate or a
exactly,
fork or something. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Let's have a
But
smorgasbord.
see, I take notes now, right?
Y'all listen.
You know, I
You can
take
be a
notes.
good influence on folks. That's why it's important to have who you have in your circle. Make sure you have some folks in your circle that can do some depositing and not always withdrawing, right?
Right. So I got 3 points.
Okay.
Now, one point is that people are looking at marriage as like a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've stated before that, I was listening to a Michael Bassett show one day, and he was saying, marriage is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and I broke that down, for what it meant to me, and I understand where he's coming from.
Okay.
But if we take marriage as a business, if we take that as a base, just like businesses are business partners, contractual, we don't really have to like each other to be together, because you don't have to like your business partner. You just have to be successful together. And the more success that y'all have together, that I don't like you doesn't really matter, because we're successful. Okay. It's not about, marriage, business is not about like, it's about just the bottom line. The bottom line is making money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And if a marriage is about, if marriage is a business, then it's not about love. It's not about, how you feel about me and this and that and the other, because as long as we got this money coming in and we're able to take some trips here and show off and have a party for a bunch of friends here and just be the life of the party, socialites, hey, on the outside, we look like we the bomb, but when we come home, it's the War of Roses going on, right?
That's a War of Roses. Did you say?
That's old school. That's old school. That's old school.
But to the end, she was like, "Get away from me."
Yes, and then we're talking about the agreements. When you said marriage about being like a contractual agreement or whatever, or obligation, but we have to have a spiritual and emotional agreement. That's what we need, and that doesn't mean that we both go to church, because you see couples that get along. Hey, one go to church, one is not of church. It's just, do we respect one another's beliefs? So if we respect one another, it doesn't matter what you do to edify your soul, as long as we keep a mutual respect for one another's beliefs and desires, right? Emotionally, do you have somebody that will emotionally give you a hug when you need one? You know what I'm saying? So when you're emotionally together, because sometimes, you just have them days where you're down, nothing you do, just waking up, and it's just like blah. You're drained, you're emotionally drained. And sometimes your partner drains you emotionally, right? We call them psychic vampires. They can walk in a room and just absorb everything, just take everything from you. So do you have a psychic vampire in your presence, or do you have somebody that's constantly is like a battery charger? Every time you see them, they're giving you a boost. Here you go. I got enough for us today. You know what I'm saying? Because one day I'm gonna need you to give me that boost. And if we're always constantly boosting one another up, if I see you down, it shouldn't be, oh well, she's feeling bad again, whatever it is. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this beer and sit back and watch TV. You know what I'm saying? She must be those woman hormone things again. You know what I'm saying? And
what is that? No, never mind. Go ahead.
She must be on those 3-letter things, the PSMs. Is that what it's called?
You never disappoint, Cherrard. I promise you never disappoint.
So you have that, or do you have somebody that see you down, your head down, they come over there and they just give you a hug and they just make you feel better. Didn't say a word, but they just embrace you to the point where that hug, that touch, at that moment, you knew that they loved you. You knew that whatever you going through, they gonna ride with you. Like I said, we don't ride or die no more. We rise and fly. So we gonna hug each other and we're gonna just make sure that we're good. Hey, what is it? We're gonna talk it out. We're gonna do whatever it takes. The third one is I'm talking about compatibility, and everybody's, I want to be equally yoked and this and that and the other. Well, there's no equal in our universe. There's balance. So, just because we both have 1,000 FICO scores or whatever, what I'm saying? We both got black cards,
Ooh.
I mean, I can color a card black too, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna even go there with you today, but just because you spoke it, you're gonna have one. You're gonna look up and your black card
I'm gonna have a black card. One day I'm gonna have unlimited credit. But what I do know that is I have unlimited love. And having that, hey, I got love for family, my friends, the whole 9 yards. And whenever anybody calls on me, I try my damnedest to give them all that good energy, that good positive energy. Hey, I don't try to bring anybody down, even if I'm down. I try not to bring that. But when we're talking about compatibility, FICO scores, careers, bank accounts, those things don't matter. You know what I'm saying? If we don't balance one another off to the point where we're always like this, we're like this, because for me, that's the scale going up and down, right? So this means sometimes I got it, sometimes you got it. And we're always balancing each other off, because together, us going up and down like this, that means we both got it. Because as a man, hey, a woman should never say, I'm broke. Well, we're together. How are you broke? And I shouldn't, as a man with a wife, be like, man, my change is low. I'm dusted and busted and disgusted. Another old school term.
Yeah.
But we got each other. So why is the other one without money? Unless you're really careless with your spending, then I can see not giving you anything. But if we're taking care of business and we're doing things together, you should never have to worry about I don't have.
Yeah.
Because if I have, you have. And if you have, I have. And together we're going to always have. And if together we can't get what we want, then we don't need it right now. We'll work on it, But as long as we're sitting here loving one another and taking care of business that way, we can get the trinkets later.
Yeah, I think too I think, and also what you're saying too is what people don't get and don't understand is that when you're with the right partner, that partner can help uplift your spirit. If you're with the wrong partner, they can break your spirit. One part of my final thoughts is too, you can, if you're in a relationship with the right person, there's nothing that you can't accomplish together. Because they're constantly building you up, you're building them up, you're celebrating each other's success, you're celebrating one another's achievements. When the other one is down, like you said, you're lifting them up. There are so many things that a good partner, or a partner that is what I want to say, that you're suited for one another. It's so much richness that you can bring to one another, and that's just like the perfect pie, if you will. But if you do, and if you don't take that time to really get to know what that person is all about up front, then you can set yourself up for, devastation along the way. So having those hard conversations, having that communication, and I love your list of 3, but it just, what hit me was your spirit, because if you send your partner out the house and their spirit is low, it's going to affect their whole day. It's going to affect everything that happens to them. But if you send them out there with hey, a positive, and then too, they're going to look forward to coming back home. It's nothing worse than coming back home to somebody that's, that's ornery or that's argumentative. And think about all the things that you've had to see. That's supposed to be your haven when you come to your home.
Yeah. Not dread coming home.
Exactly. It's supposed to be a haven. So when you go out in the world and you got to fight all these dragons and everything else out here, you know that you have a haven to come back and recharge, rest, and get yourself back, to where you need to be reset. But so to me, I don't think that money keeps you together, but I think that you can accomplish anything when you're with the right partner. I think that it's just not about, the money, if you will. Think
Yeah.
about it. If you think going to a little bit of financial literacy right now, look at all the, how the dollar has decreased in value right now. So if you're bringing
Mhm.
something together based on a dollar, hello,
You already started out, depreciating.
it was a depreciating asset. And
Yeah.
then, and completely, for me, God is the center of everything for me, and that's why, I pray, and I talk about covenant, and I talk about, your partner being accountable to not just themselves, and not just using themselves as their own frame of reference. And so, if you use yourself as your own frame of reference, and that's all that you're drawing from,
Mhm.
how can you grow? How can you be your best? And every day we should be changing and growing, and getting better. We're getting more information, and we're sharing that with our partners. So for me, I just think that you can be that super couple together, but the whole foundation starts with really, loving one another and understanding each other, and just knowing your boundaries, knowing that,
Right.
okay, just because this package is this doesn't mean that what they say, everything that glitters is not gold.
And I go, right?
I'm matching you with that old school. Everything that glitters is not gold. So
Right.
sir, what are your final thoughts on this topic today?
Final thoughts. Money is just a necessary tool. It's a tool. That's all it is.
Yes.
And in every what every culture or whatever, in the beginning of the time, money was something different. Money used to be land, money used to be cattle, money used to be, you know, your family, how big your family is, whatever. So money changes. So I think but the one thing that should not change over time is what love is. Love should just be that one thing that we know to be that permanent source of power. That's
Mm,
what it is. A
that's
permanent
good.
source of power that we can always draw from. Because you can go broke.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? You can go broke. But if you're if you're with the right person, like you said, you with this, it's like watching a man or a woman that's with somebody not doing well. They get with somebody else. Next thing you know, it's like they're up here. They're
mm-hmm.
different. They move different. What
Yes.
was Mickey Howard's song "Love Under New Management"?
Oh yes. See,
You know what I'm
like
saying?
you making me take notes.
So
Yes.
when if you're dealing with somebody and they're constantly bringing you down, or put it this way, if you're allowing someone to constantly bring you down, and that's what they thrive off of, you being
Mm-hmm.
down, get
Mm-hmm.
with somebody, put your love under new management first. Why don't you manage your love first, and then you go to somebody that's going to take your love and caress it and just hold it like it's near and dear, to them, because you are near and dear. So y'all come together, you got this love thing going. And my thing is, if we concentrated on love, and if we love one another, we're going to communicate, we're going to be consistent, we're going to cooperate, you know what I'm saying? We're going to be consistent with it, and all this other good stuff. There's nothing that we can't do. And the last thing I'm saying is, you speak of God, and the one thing I know is, whether you call him God, Allah, Jehovah, whatever, universal power, whatever, there's this power that gives us life, whatever you want to call it, a deity, a God, or whatever. We all need to believe in something that's more supreme than us, you know. And I do believe that there's a higher power out there. All we have to do, in anything we want in life, they say that you name it, you claim it.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are speaking down on love. That's why they keep running into situations where love is not even a part of their equation. So we have to start naming love as one of those things that we truly desire again, and envision it, and then we go from there. And
Mm-hmm.
just realize, yeah, money is just a necessary tool. That's it. Money's a necessary tool.
Money is a necessary tool. Wow. I love that. Words have power. So I'm gonna piggyback on that to close out, because words do have power, and you're absolutely correct. What we speak, we do, it does manifest. So,
Right.
speak something beautiful into somebody's life today, and speak something beautiful into your life today. we can all do get different or better information and do a paradigm shift and really change the trajectory of our
Right.
lives. So, with that, don't forget, everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Stay fearless. And, wow, this was great. Bye for now.
Have a